Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of the Diz Explorers podcast, where every week we explore different aspects of the vast Disney universe. So this week, we're running at half throttle. We've got 3 of the 6 of us tonight. So joining myself this week is Melanie.
Hey there.
And we've got Milford.
Hello.
So tonight, we've got a few topics we're going to discuss. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention just a little bit of news that came across the wire today that I saw on Twitter, the little bit that I got a chance to look. And with the Main Street Electrical Parade ending on October 9th of this year, along with it, the dinner package will obviously not be offered because we don't really know what is coming in its place as of right now. So in lieu of that, they are switching over to a lunch package for the Festival of Fantasy Parade, which will begin on October 10th. So it's also going to be offered at Tony's Town Square, which is where the nighttime parade dinner was offered also. I believe the pricing is the same. I didn't check the old one. It's $45 for adults, $17 for kids. You can order off the lunch menu. And then after that, they provide seating near the flagpole with a reserved ticket, or they escort you out there. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I've never done it before. That's the major news that I've heard. Today they've been releasing videos with the Food and Wine starting on the 14th. Disney's been releasing some snippets of their merchandise that they're offering this year, and some of it looks really cool. There's a nice group of pins, one of which my pin that I'm going to be standing in line for is they have one of Yzma and Kronk, which is always awesome. It's a pretty cool looking pin. He's got his oven mitts on. He's holding a tray of some sort of cakes or something, and Yzma's
squeaker.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love Kronk.
You can never have enough Kronk.
So
some other great things. There's a lot of Figment themed stuff. There was salt and pepper shakers with Figment on it, and oven mitts, and great t-shirts and stuff like that, tumblers and all sorts of great stuff. So I'm glad I'm hitting the festival this year at the beginning, because that last week they do tend to run thin on stuff.
They do. I usually go at the end and there's nothing.
Yeah, the only good thing is, because I've caught the end of Flower and Garden a couple years, if they do have stuff left, they're trying to get rid of it. So you can get it. You can't negotiate, but sometimes you'll get up to like 25% off. And then plus if you're DVC or AP or any of those other things, it's another 10%. So you can get a good discount on stuff. So it is good if you're willing to just pick from whatever's left. Mm-hmm. But if you want like your size of shirt and some of these pins, which will probably go pretty quick for those collect pins, it's good to get there within the first month or so, I'd say.
Take lots of pictures for us.
I will. Yeah, so next Monday you guys will not be able to hear my voice because I will be there. My wife and I are traveling down to Disney World September 18th through the 23rd, so we'll be there for Food and Wine, and we're doing a bunch of other stuff, which I won't get into now. Get on to our main topic of the evening. One of them is, which is great that we have Melanie and Milford with us tonight, because they are the two that are well-versed in this. So on the Disney Cruise Lines, unbeknownst to me until it was mentioned recently on this podcast, they do a fun thing on everybody's cabin doors called fish extenders. And I will let Melanie and Milford explain that, because they've both participated in this, and I've seen pictures of what they've done, and it seems like a really awesome thing, and just another fun little thing on the cruise that just makes it that much more personal between guests, which is always besides the experiences you get on any Disney property, parks, boat, wherever, the personal experiences you gain with cast members and meeting new people and like-minded people is always what I take away as the best thing. And being a lover of all things Disney and stuff like that, you get to geek out with other people, and it's just a great thing. So I'll let these two take it away and explain away about these fish extenders.
Sure. Well, when you travel with Disney Cruise Line, outside of your stateroom door, you will have a fish, a seahorse, or a starfish, depending on your stateroom location. The port side staterooms on the Dream and the Fantasy will have a seahorse. On the starboard side, on all 4 ships, you'll have the fish, and up in the concierge rooms, you'll have a starfish. But basically what these fish and starfish are doing, they are a little, they're pulled out a little bit from the wall. They're a great place for guest services or your stateroom host to leave notes for you. Well, several years ago, a clever Disney cruiser realized you could hang stuff from that fish. You could hang something from there, and they're only pulled out from the wall a little bit, but just enough for you to drape over what we have affectionately come to know as today's fish extenders. And these are basically banners, usually ranging from 8 to 10 inches wide, with pockets. They are banners with pockets, and what these banners with pockets do is they facilitate what is called the fish exchange. I know fish extenders, fish exchange, they sound the same. So think of the fish extender as the fish extends down with the banner. So the banner is the extension of the fish, so to speak. And those pockets, they're like Christmas stockings at sea. They're intentionally small. Yeah. They're about the size of a full-grown man's hand. I'm 5'8". I have very large hands. I can palm a volleyball, and a pocket's about the size of my hand. So I can say that. My wedding ring's a size 10. I kid you not.
Wow.
So I know you never knew that, did you?
No, that's
things you'd learn about me.
That's pretty close to mine, but mine no longer comes off my fat little Italian fingers anymore. So.
So yes, so I have no problem with the size of my hands. I've had this size hand since the 8th grade. I kid you not. Whether I was a scrawny thing or someone with mom curves, that's just the size of my hands. So these fish exchange pockets are about the size of an adult's hand, and they're little pockets for you to slip in a small gift. And to get these gifts, you also have to agree to give gifts. That's kind of how it works. You join what is called a fish exchange group, and you do this usually months before you sail. Facebook has some wonderful has come to be known as cruise meet groups. To find one, all you have to do is go to that Facebook search engine, and if you're sailing on, let's say, the Disney Dream on March 20th, 2017, put that to the Facebook search engine, and then click, and when you're narrowing down your results, narrow it down by groups, and you will find 1 or 2 groups where you can join, and usually within those groups you will find some guest organizing a fish exchange. Now, it is important to know that Disney Cruise Line in no way is officially affiliated with these fish exchanges. This is a guest-led initiative. So if you've got a problem with someone in your fish exchange group, Disney's not going to help you out.
You're on your own.
Something goes wrong, and I can say I've never experienced anything but wonderful things going on with fish exchanges, but the world's not perfect. There are people who have had issues with the fish exchange group of all the things in the world, and that is up to you guys, up to the guests participating to resolve any issues. Disney allows it. Disney knows it goes. I'm sure they know it goes on. They know everything that goes on their ships.
Yeah.
And it's not something that they sanction or don't sanction. They know it happens, and as long as the guests participating do so by following the rules of Disney ships as to what you can and cannot bring on board the ship, Disney stays out of it and lets the guests have a good time with this, which I think is fantastic. So you join a fish exchange group. Usually a leader puts together either a Word document or a little spreadsheet, very simple spreadsheet, where you sign up. You sign up with your name and the name of everyone in your family who's going to be participating, your stateroom number. Usually you add in food allergies because sometimes some people will want to give candy type or food gifts. If you are giving food gifts, they do need to be sealed in the manufacturer's packaging. That comes up quite a bit. Disney does not allow you to bring opened food items on board. But yeah, so you sign up with that information, and then you proceed with the creative gift assembling. And it's really fun. You can get very creative with the gifts because they not only do they need to be small, they need to fit in your budget. Now, there's no set budget for any fish exchange group. It's up to each individual participant to decide what they're comfortable spending on these. I can tell you I have found some fantastic finds on clearance, off-season crafts, things like that, where I could spend as little as $1 per gift. I've spent as much as $10 per gift. It just depends on the gift, who you're giving it to, and the like. But when you're on board, you assemble your gifts. When you're on board, you get to go play Secret Santa. Usually I try to do it in the evening, but goodness knows I wear those scopolamine patches for seasickness, so I am out like a light by 10:30. I'm so bad. So I end up going very, very early in the morning, because when I go to bed early, I wake up early. And I like delivering to all the different staterooms and seeing their fish extenders and their stateroom doors and things like that. So it's really, really fun. And then my kids love coming back to our staterooms after we've been at the pool or a show and finding neat little gifts and trinkets left in their pockets. So it's really, really cool. Just think of it in the most simple terms as a not-so-secret Santa at sea, where the fish extender is your stocking, and each member of your family gets a pocket, and you've got an exchange group where you get gifts for every single person in the group, or each stateroom. If you want to do a stateroom gift, that's fine too. But the fun is, seeing the creativity of the other guests and really getting to know them, especially if you're traveling and it's just your little nuclear family unit, 4 or 5 of you. You get to meet these other families usually months ahead of time on Facebook. So you don't feel so lonely on a ship with 4,000 other guests if you're on one of the big one, or, 1,800 guests if you're on the Wonder or the Magic. But so you get to know a few families ahead of time. We met our cruising BFFs through a fish exchange. We actually went and visited them this past summer in their hometown, and they've come down here a couple of times. So these fish exchange groups are for forming relationships with other guests primarily, and I think the gifts are just a way to facilitate that. Milford, have you ever done these?
Yeah, so, my wife and I, we took our first cruise in 2008. We cruised on the member cruise, which is a little DVC member cruise, which is a little different because it's a lot more adults, not as many kids. But in 2010, we did that cruise again, and through another podcast to be unnamed forums, we all got to know each other,
right?
Months before we went on the cruise. So our whole little group in our little discussion group on these boards put together our own fish extender, and we did our fish extenders, and like you said, the creativity is just it's amazing. My wife made glasses for everybody, because we call our group the Diz Peeps now. One year she made etched glasses, so she printed all these things out with her Cricut and then etched glasses for everybody that said Diz Peeps on it in the year. So,
I've got to sail with you.
All kinds of things like that people do. There was another group that, we cruised with them over New Year's here a year and a half, 2 years ago. And one of the couples made up Tervis mugs and they were frozen themed Tervis mugs. So it had the snow, it had Olaf on it, and it had our names on it in vinyl. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And some of the people will give gifts that are reflective of their hometown or home country. When we sailed to Alaska, we had a family from Japan who had some of the most creative gifts. There were fans and Japanese candies that the kids just went crazy over. We had a family from Australia who brought in trinkets as well. And that I loved. On my wall, I still have it. We were given as a thank you card, a postcard from the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Oh,
and
cool.
I still have that on my wall with my Disney pictures. I thought that was a really interesting way to give a thank you for the gifts. And so the local flair is one thing that people like to do if they've got something local to them that they're particularly proud to show off. I don't know what I would do. I'm in North Carolina. Maybe bring baby bottles of barbecue sauce.
And before they changed the rules about alcohol on the boat, we used to have adult fish extenders.
Yes.
And you brought little sample bottles of liquor from your region of wherever you lived.
Right.
So if we had guys from Canada, they were bringing Canadian Mist,
right,
or Crown Royal. If they were from England, they might have brought Jameson, those kinds of things, and the little, the little sample bottles like you get on the airlines.
Little nips.
Exactly. Exactly. I had thought about the two before our last cruise. They had just changed the rules, and we were going to bring those little cans of that Donald Duck orange juice.
Yep.
With a little bottle of Malibu.
There you go.
We were going to put those for the gifts for the adults, but they changed the rules. Luckily, I got the notification before I went out and had bought my supplies, but so that changed up my plans a little bit. But I understand why they did that. But so people do get creative. And another trend that I found that's coming up, it's an up and coming trend with fish exchanges, is a recipe exchange for the people, especially the adults traveling who don't necessarily want trinkets and they don't want to spend money. I mean, you're already spending a lot of money on this cruise, where they will make up recipe cards, either something hometown or something, maybe a Disney recipe that they particularly enjoy. So they'll put a photo and the recipe on a card with a note, and then they'll exchange those in the pockets too. So it's like a giftless gift exchange that some of the adults are really enjoying. And I really love that idea of just using the fish exchange as a way to get to know other people, and the stuff it doesn't necessarily have to involve stuff. Stuff that you have to pack.
Right.
I think these were very light packers. I don't know what light packing looks like personally.
Yeah, neither do I.
I could teach you.
I travel with a 29-inch suitcase, and a carry-on. I don't do light packing. You. No, I don't believe in it. Oh, but the creativity, it's all really about being thoughtful and creative more than spending money on the gifts. Like I said, your gifts could be $1, they could be $10. It's really not about the dollar amount, although I do caution you, if you're dealing with getting gifts for potentially 50 to 60 guests.
Oh, my own.
And that's what you're committing to. You're committing to this. If you are going to join a fish exchange group and agree to receive all of these small gifts, you are going to be responsible for giving them as well. I don't want to tell you this horror stories I've heard about people just not participating, like putting out the fish extender, but just not doing it, or just dropping it the last second. You're committing to this. It's fun, but as someone who just assembled her fish exchange gifts for my cruise, which is coming up in 2.5 weeks, I did all my assembly today. You're committing. I had a ball putting it together and gathering, I call them ingredients, gathering each bit of what I did for my fish exchange. And I can't say anything yet because people may be listening. So I'm not saying what it is, but I assembled it all today, and I love that feeling of it being complete finally, because it's a good feeling. But it's a commitment. So if you're going to do it, commit to do it, have a good time with it. Have fun. It's about fun and meeting other guests. But stick to that budget, because if you're getting 50 or 60 gifts, and if you say, hey, I'm going to spend $5 per gift, well, you know what 50 times 5 is?
A lot.
So, a lot. Yeah. And it can get out of hand very quickly if you do not stick to your budget. So I was helping a reader over at DCL Prep School plan a couple of things for a cruise late in spring. And you can find things like after Halloween or during the holiday clearances. Her cruise will be after Easter, so there will even be Easter things that she can, incorporate into her gift idea. So look for those clearance times. If you're looking for nautical gifts, we're kind of in that zone right now in September as they're clearing out all of that summer beach things.
Yep.
So if you're looking for beachy type items right now, that's all on clearance. If you're listening to us in December, I'm saying this in September. So September is a great time to get nautical items on clearance. And, I have a Disney dresser in my closet. Don't we all have Disney dresser?
I think pretty much my dresser is just, yeah.
Some of us have more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my husband has tried to get me to get rid of that dresser in the closet so many times. I'm like, where am I going to put all of this stuff if I don't have this dresser in here? And it's my dresser from when I was a kid, so it is in horrid condition. It's on its last leg. The drawer pulls are like all pulled off, but it is full with our Disney shirts. Our fish extenders live in there. When I pick up things for our future fish exchange groups, whether it's craft supplies or just the gifts, because I'm only semi-crafty personally. Sometimes I can craft it, sometimes I have to just buy the thing. Mm-hmm. So that's where it all goes. All of my Disney stuff is in that dresser. So keep it ahead of time. If you know you're going to be sailing in about a year, go ahead and get those ideas rolling early on so that when you're down to the last 2.5 weeks like I am right now, you're not freaking out. You're happy because you're done.
Yeah,
and you can't wait till it just happens.
And your Cricket and Oriental Trading Company and the Party Place.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you hit the Party Place and Oriental Trading Company after the holidays, like you were saying.
Lakeside Collection.
Lakeside Collections.
Pirate stuff right now. I mean, Halloween stuff has hit the stores, but, pirate accessories, your pirate patches, hooks, things you can find that are really readily available that there's going to be some sitting there on November 1st. That's a great time to buy your pirate gear, November 1st. So wait for that. That Halloween.
Well, you're going to have somebody in your group that's going to give gifts every night. Don't feel obligated that you have to give every night because somebody in your group did.
No.
I will say
I'm a one gift per person.
We have a couple in our group that travels with us all the time and love them to death, but they give us something every night, and it's like, oh my.
That's a lot of walking the halls. I know
they're listening to me, probably listen to this podcast this week. Sorry, love you guys, but we feel bad when you guys give us stuff every night and we don't have something to reciprocate. So.
And like I said, some people will give one larger stateroom gift for the entire family, whether it's, a nice set of mugs or, one of the higher quality picture frames. We've gotten a couple of those that were beautiful. So sometimes you will get a stateroom gift that's for the entire family, or it'll just be packaged like that. You can tell the individual items are for individual people, but they'll be packaged as one gift. And sometimes I think that helps with traveling. But so keep in mind the size of the pockets. They are small. We're talking about usually 8x5 pockets, 8x6 inches for each of these little pockets. And the fact that you not only have to carry the stuff to the ship, whatever you are taking home is also going to fit in your luggage. So definitely keep that in mind. Over on dclprepschool.com, I have an entire FAQ dedicated to fish extenders and the fish exchange process. You'll see the fish extender I just made for our cruise. I kind of got a little crafty this time. The fish extenders that I ordered for our very first cruise are beautiful, but since I'm not cruising with my family this time, I ended up making a new one for my roomie and myself. And I think it kind of came out stinking cute, personally. It's all burlappy and autumnal. It's a Halloween on the High Seas cruise. It's all Halloween-y. I like it.
It's very cool. I can say I saw it.
Thank you. My daughter and I got crafty together, and we had a good time doing that. So and I thought that was very nice of her to help out, considering she's not even going on this cruise. And she doesn't give me too hard of a time about it. They know Mama needs to get away too. Whew. They're older now.
It's work, right?
Yeah. Well, it is for KeyCon, which is the Key to the World Travel Agency, which is all the prep school sites are affiliated with them. It is their annual KeyCon. And this year, since we are doing a land and sea adventure, we have dubbed it SeaCon. So it is for SeaCon. I will be rooming with one of the fantastic agents. I don't think she knows what she's getting into, rooming with me. It could be a great experience for her, or it could be awful.
Now, how could it be awful? I can't see it being awful.
Y'all only see me. Y'all don't even see me. Y'all only hear me. Y'all don't have to live with me. I have Casey, who is the editor and over at the Disneyland prep school site, DLR Prep School. She's actually my roomie for the land portion. We'll be staying at the Contemporary for that part of the conference, and then for the sea, I'll have a fabulous roommate who is one of the agents over at Key to the World. So she'll be my roomie for the sea part. So I'll have a couple of different roomies for this convention. So each one only has to take me in small doses. 3 nights each. I think we'll be okay.
You will survive.
I'm a good roommate, I promise. I try to be. But yeah, so over on DCL Prep School, you'll see all of my tips and tricks, as well as some easy ideas for the not so crafty people when it comes to fish exchanges. So there's a little search engine up at the top of the website. Just type in fish. Just type in fish. You may have to type in fish exchange or fish extender or anything. Just type in fish and you will see all the crazy goodness that a fish exchange can be.
I know I just have a few things I was jotting down as you guys were talking. I didn't want to interrupt, so I figured I'd wait till the end with just a few
Really? That's
questions.
so unlike you.
I know. Well, I was just, I was rolling with it.
Jump in anytime. You know me. Jump in.
I tried. It didn't work, though.
You're making me spit my water out. Like it's only water.
Well, you started it off. The mom curve thing got me going. Almost spit my rum all over my computer.
Oh, gosh. 3 kids will do it to you every time.
I hear you. But anyway.
I'm not talking about your mom curves.
Oh, well, yeah.
Milford, she's over there laughing at us.
Yeah, let's...
I'm laughing.
Let's, Boy, the other 3 don't know what they're missing this week.
I know, right? Mel comes back, it all falls apart.
Yeah.
Questions.
All right. So I know you mentioned that at the beginning of it that these hang on the wall. So they don't hang on the door. They hang on the walls, like the actual.
There is a fish. If you look on my Ultimate Fish Exchange FAQ and you scroll down, you will see an adorable picture of one of my cousin's little girls. She's adorable. And you'll see the stateroom door. And to the left of this door, depends on where your door is, whether it's to the left or the right, you can see a fish hanging right above the stateroom numbers.
Oh, okay.
And you'll see the ribbon just slides behind. The ribbon that holds the banner slides right behind the fish, and it extends downward.
Okay, so it's a hook
it's like a hook, yes. The fish, it acts like a hook.
Okay, I just didn't know if it was something that, like, people were sticking on those command hooks everywhere, or if it was something that was provided by Disney as part of the ship.
Not at all. In fact, do not adhere anything to that wall. You may use magnets on the doors, but do not use adhesives or hooks or over the door hanger. Don't do any of that. In fact, in that part of the wall is a wooden veneer thing, so magnets won't even stick to that. But no. So
okay.
No. The fish acts as your hook.
Gotcha.
And we probably, between the two of us, probably got some pictures we can post up on the blog, too. So.
Oh, absolutely. If Jessica or anybody wants to steal any of the pictures from me or over on the DCL Prep School Facebook page, you'll see some pictures over there as well. If you scroll down, it's probably been about a week and a half since we were going through this. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool.
Definitely, and you'll see... There was an infographic that I made because I had gotten asked 1,000 times, so I knew it was on their minds. Why is it called a fish extender? So I made the graphic as there's the fish, and it extends down, and I drew the arrow, and it's kind of my tongue-in-cheek answer because really it is that simple.
Well, I mean, I felt kind of stupid asking the question because it's like, all right, I thought you said it was hanging on the wall. I'm like, well, how did
the fish is on the wall? The banner hangs from the fish.
Okay, I got you. All right.
But yeah, so it literally it's that simple, and that's how it. I'm going to go with that's the history of the name. I don't know who first coined the term, but it really is just a fish banner that extends down.
Well, hey, plain and simple.
Nomenclature.
Well, that's my next point. Speaking of nomenclature, I'm calling Disney out. Now, you said that there's a fish, a starfish, and a seahorse. Why is the starfish in the concierge level and not on the starboard side?
Okay, so this is...
There's no right answer.
There's no right answer as to why, but I will tell you that when it comes to the seahorse and the fish will be on the starboard side, and your seahorse will be on the port side, and that's, I believe it's only on the Dream and the Fantasy that they did this, and it's just a visual cue so you know which side of the ship you're on.
No, I get it, but it just, starboard, I don't know, that's where my mind went with it.
I would too. I think concierge, it's more of the 5-star service kind of thing.
Oh.
So I think that has more to do, and I believe, again, that that's only on the Fantasy and the Dream, I think. I have to go look at my
I don't remember
pictures
if
to
that's on
see.
the Magic and the Wonder. I don't think they're different on there.
I don't remember seeing them at all when I went on my cruise. But...
sorry.
Hold on. Let me pull some pictures from my last cruise, and I can tell you.
I mean, I've said it on here. I've only been on one. It was 2002 on the Magic, so I know much has changed on those ships in the past 14 years. So
not a thing.
Yeah, no, nothing. There's only a big giant slide and such pirate parties.
Let's see. Yeah, it's.
And then the only other thing I was wondering about, which without going into crazy details on it, you guys had mentioned about rules changing, I guess, as far as the bringing alcohol onto the ship. So I didn't know if that was like what were the old ones and what were the new ones, just because I know that's probably a heavy subject for people who want to travel on the ship and bring booze with them. Or
yeah, so before September of last year, you could bring 2 bottles of wine per person.
Like the regular size, like a 175?
Yeah, the 750
750. Okay.
750, yeah. Or 2, I believe it was 2 6-packs of beer per person.
Okay.
Or you could bring spirits as long as they were, and you could bring any of this as long as that was in your carry-on. It could not be in your checked baggage.
Right.
Last year in September, just before September last year, they did a policy change. You can no longer bring spirits on board.
Wow.
On the day of embarkation. You can buy spirits on the islands, like in Nassau or Cozumel or wherever you're in port. But when you bring it back to the boat, they will confiscate it and they will check it and store it with the duty-free stuff. And then you'll get it back. You'll get it when you check out that day.
No kidding.
And they have a desk in the terminal for that.
Actually, when we got off of the Magic, there was a table, almost like, card table for Thanksgiving. A long card table.
Table.
Right in front of the Port Adventures desk.
Right.
And they handed it to you right as you got off the ship.
Oh, wow.
You just handed them, and they're like, what's your room number, ID, and then they handed you your packages.
But
super simple to reclaim it.
Even though they got rid of you bringing spirits, you could still bring 2 bottles of wine per person and 2 6-packs of beer per person.
Right. Huh.
So they didn't do away with that.
Right.
So there is some that is still allowed, and depending on your need for alcohol in your stateroom.
And there's ways around everything, but we won't go into that here.
No, not at all.
We do not
we
advocate for breaking
no, we do
Disney
not advocate
policy.
for breaking Disney policy.
But I've seen it too.
Yes.
Which always makes me shake my head. I'm like, do you really need to get around the rules that badly?
And
but they're creative.
Yeah, the reason for doing this was because people were leaving alcohol behind in their rooms. Mm-hmm. The crew members were getting it, taking it back to their quarters, which they're not allowed to have alcohol in their quarters. And then they'd show up on shift,
plastered
3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
So
very unprofessional.
That's why they have a crew bar, and they're allowed to go to crew bar on their time off, as long as they still show up for their shift and they're not.
Right. I could understand.
But they can also control how much people are drinking in the crew bar. So.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, I'm sure there's a maximum.
Yeah.
And on a side note, I'm looking at my sister's room right now. Concierge on the Magic has a fish.
Yeah.
It's not a starfish.
I thought the Magic and the Wonder were all fish, and they didn't change that till we got to
didn't change the fish.
And the Dream, yeah.
Yeah, so even when they reimagined the Magic, they left the fish.
Yeah.
And they left the stateroom doors magnetic in Concierge as well, where on the Fantasy and the Dream, they have those wooden veneers.
Yeah.
So
makes it fun when you want to decorate your door.
I know. I feel sad for the concierge people who can't. So sad for those concierge people who can't decorate their door.
No, I don't feel sorry.
I don't feel bad for them.
Put banners on their fishes and things like that. So.
Yeah, I'm sure they're worried about that.
I know, right?
In between their stone massages and whatever other concierge stuff that they do.
Those concierge rooms are pretty nice.
Hey now, don't knock the stone massages. I've had one; they're pretty good.
I have too.
I've had one too, but not on a Disney Cruise Line. just
my husband and I did two couples massages when we went to Alaska, and we had a couple of sea days, and so we did a massage each day, and we did the stem massage one time. I rather enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did the couples massage on our honeymoon, but I don't remember doing the stone one. I think it was just a regular old massage.
It's a regular one.
Which I believe was my first time ever having that done at all. I've never had, which was fantastic because in my line of work, I should probably be getting one a month to get myself right.
It's going to take more than a massage.
Yes, you're right. True. All right, well, cool. That was good because like I said, I knew nothing about any of this because it wasn't around the one and only cruise that I've been on. So I'm actually pretty. Now, I guess the other thing was I think you had said it during the thing. So it's not per person in the room; it's just per room. So like like Melanie, you're a family of 5,
right?
And I know you said sometimes depending on the stateroom, usually have 2 staterooms.
Yes.
So if you have a fish extender on it, it's just for your room. So it wouldn't be for like you and your 2 daughters. They each wouldn't have their own.
I only have one daughter, but that's okay.
Sorry. No. Sorry. I know you.
What we do is to make it simple for fish extender purposes and so that I don't have a fish extender that's dragging the ground. Is my daughter and I have one fish extender, and then the guys have their fish. My husband and the boys have their fish extender. So it makes it, and our rooms are always very close together. And in the spreadsheets or the Word documents that the organizers create, it's very simple to see that I have and we're not the only ones who will split their family into multiple staterooms. So it's very simple to see that the girls are listed in this stateroom, the boys are in that stateroom. However, we participate as a family unit. That means that if somebody is giving a stateroom gift or a family gift, we only get one. So we don't get like a stateroom gift for each stateroom. And it's pretty easy to note that on a spreadsheet or a document that says, hey, if you're giving a group gift, consider us one group, even though we're in 2 rooms. That's a fairly common occurrence, especially with families like mine who have 3 or 4 kids and they're split up between staterooms. Organizers know how to handle that, and it's communicated very simply and effectively so that everybody gets their gifts delivered very easily. So my daughter and I are on one. In fact, the top of ours just says the Clap Filter ladies, and then we have the Clap Filter men on the other one. Super simple.
Cool.
That way, again, we're not dragging the ground with our fish extender.
Right. Well, then it gets kind of out of hand if you're doing, every individual in the room. So that's what I thought.
But there are people that give fish extender gifts for each person in the room too. It's not necessarily that they just give one gift for the whole room. They have their choice. They can do that, or they can say, "I'm going to give one thing."
And I like the individual gifts personally. For me, I do one for each person. I think it's a little more personable for each recipient, especially the teenage boys. It's always hard to buy for teenage boys, so I always make sure, since I have teenage boys, I kind of know what to get for them. So I make sure that I do something that's personable for each one.
Yeah, and sometimes what we'll do is we'll do a gift for the parents, so for the 2 adults, and then separate gifts for the kids.
Right.
Because then you
Absolutely.
can get specific. One might be a girl, one might be a boy, and I can split them up. So.
And as you can see, there's no wrong way to do this. If you're going to do a parent gift, do a parent gift. If you want, do the fish exchange how you want to do it. I said there's no rules, just fun.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like lots of fun. Yeah, that's cool. Seems like can be pretty large groups.
They
50,
can
60
be
people involved in it. That's a lot of people to try to get stuff for.
If you think about it, it's normally 10 to 15 staterooms. If groups get larger, what they'll do is they'll break it down into multiple groups. Like if you're on the fantasy and you have, 30 families who want to do this, what they'll do is they'll break it into either 2 groups of 15 or 3 groups of 10. So if you're talking about 10 staterooms and 3 to 4 people per stateroom, that's, 30 to 40 people there, or, you're dealing.
Right.
And my last cruise was a family reunion. So with the 30 of us, we just did a fish exchange group, with ourselves, which was so much fun, buying fish exchange gifts or crafting fish exchange gifts for people I actually knew. Not only that, but I'm going to have to see them again.
Yeah, right.
So my gift better be good.
That's what we do with our Dis Peeps group too.
Can't just throw a bag of M&Ms into the thing.
No, so it was actually really fun, and we got to get super creative. And if I was just stumped, then I could always go to my cousin and be like, okay, so what does your daughter really want? Is there something you can give me some help here? And you can also do that too. If you are stumped, and it happens to the best, most experienced exchanger, if you're stumped about what to get somebody, you're already in a Facebook group with them. Message them, talk to them. You're in this group to get to know them. Ask them. And you might be able to glean a few ideas just from having that conversation. So communicate, but most importantly, have fun.
All right, cool. Just another fun thing outside of the normal, like they said, this wasn't something that Disney had started. It was started by
super creative guests.
My super creative guests, and it's just taken a life of its own. It's great that Disney doesn't put the kibosh on it as long as it's done within reason and it's not disruptive or gets out of hand.
And I will say,
mean gestured and stuff like that. So as long as everybody plays by the rules, they'll probably leave it alone.
And it's a fantastic way to recognize your door from afar. In that long corridor of stateroom doors that look the same, that banner really visually sticks out so you know where you're headed. And that you're headed in the right direction, not that I've ever headed in the wrong direction down those corridors before.
No, I've never stumbled down a hallway.
I've done it several times.
It is so easy to get turned around on the ship like that. Oh, especially in those
am I
corridors.
aft or am I forward?
You look down at the carpet.
I know.
And the starfish are pointing forward.
Yep.
That's always how you know. And then you have to keep going until you find an elevator, and the elevators will say what section of the ship you're actually in.
Wow.
It can get confusing, and it's really disorienting when you find yourself, I would say lost. I mean, you're in a corridor, but just... Right. It's disorienting thinking that you're aft when you're really forward, or that you're on the starboard side when you thought you were port. I just have to let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Yes.
All right. So next thing that I know I was very interested in, and probably many people are who don't have friends that are involved in it or know or have dealt with people like this, is people who are independent travel agents for Walt Disney World or Disneyland, for the Disney, I guess it's for the Disney company, but Milford is a travel agent, and you can book trips through him. And it's just always fascinated me about the process of how you would become one, like what credentials do you need, and is there a test, or how much information do you need to know? Is there a handbook, so on and so forth? Can you can DVC members book through these travel agents, or is they're exclusively on their own? So just wanted Milford just to mention some points on it, with his experience of being a Disney travel agent.
So I've been a travel agent now about 4 years. I started down the path of getting involved in a travel agency at the time through what we call a host agency. Those host agencies are sometimes a little frustrating because you're paying them money to basically get your foot in the door. There really is no training to prepare you for this other than traveling, other than what Disney provides, which I'll get to here in a minute. The problem with host agencies is they get so big and they're all about collecting money, and they're somewhat kind of like the MLM kind of thing. You sign up and then you sign people up under you, and the whole Amway type business model, for lack of better terms. I left that. A friend of mine and I were both agents with this particular host agency, and we tried to go on our own. We found out that was a very expensive proposition too. Pretty much anybody can get in and be a travel agency if you've got enough money. It was quite a bit of money to get what's called a CLIA card, which is a Cruise Line Industry Association card, so that you can be official and get signed up with Disney. There's only two ways to get signed up with any of the vendors, and that's through either having a CLIA card or an IATA number, which is and I forget what IATA stands for. we actually, the agency I'm with now just got their IATA number. We were with CLIA before that, and we're actually still with CLIA, though they've converted our number. So we tried to go alone for a little while, and we had our business for about 2 years, and we decided the money that we were making wasn't enough to cover the expenses. So we signed up with another friend of ours that had 20 to 30 agents, or 10 to 15 agents, and that's where I'm at now, and that's where his wife is at now. There is training through most of the vendors, and I'm going to talk about Disney specific here. They have what's called the College of Disney Knowledge, and going through that training, they test you on all your knowledge of Disney. So it helps that you've been to the parks. It helps that you've been on cruise line. It helps that you've been to Hawaii or been to Disneyland. They don't ask you very many questions about Disneyland Paris or Tokyo or Hong Kong, but they do ask you about Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, and Aulani. And then this last couple of years, they've started asking questions about Adventures by Disney. Because as a travel agent at Disney, you can book all those things. Once you get your College of Disney Knowledge, you qualify to get a set of pins that they give you for passing the course. And then you also qualify for benefits as long as you have a CLIA card. So as a travel agent, I do have access to discounted tickets to the parks, discounted room rates, all those different types of things. But getting there is a challenge, because you need to know what you're selling. One of the misnomers that people don't realize is they think, well, if I got to book through a travel agent, am I going to pay them extra money? Well, you're not really paying them extra money. You're still paying the vendor, that being Disney, for your trip. Disney brings on companies or travel agents to do their bidding, because then they don't have to have somebody sitting on a phone 12 to 15 hours a day answering calls from customers. They pay a travel agency a commission to actually book that trip for them. So the commission that your travel agent gets paid actually comes out of the money that you're paying Disney. You don't pay anything extra. But what you do get with a travel agent that booking with Disney will not give you is, as a travel agent, I'm always going to be looking for you the best deal. If I know you're booked on Disney Cruise Line for over Christmas and some deal comes up that can save you $500 on your trip, I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, hey, this is available, and find out whether you want to change your reservations and hopefully save you some money. Same thing with staying at Disney World or any of the other places, Alani, Disneyland. So they're always getting the news about what kind of deals are out there, because Disney has a habit of releasing deals about 3 months out from somebody traveling. It's like right now, there's really good deals for this fall because they're afraid the crowds aren't going to be there. Another thing travel agents can do for you is help you with booking fast passes, getting your tickets if you didn't book a package. They're always going to try and talk you into booking a package because that's usually the best deal. They will also help you with making dining reservations, booking tours. Again, constantly looking for better deals for you. They'll also help you with when's the best time of year to go. I get calls from people all the time. Well, we're thinking about taking a trip, but we're not sure what time of year we want to go. When are the less crowds? When is it not so crowded? And then they tell you they want to go at Christmas. Well, if you don't want crowds, you don't want to go at Christmas.
No, definitely not.
No.
Definitely not.
So I know I went through that kind of quickly. Did you guys have questions specific?
I don't know everything about it because I'm not a travel agent, but I do. From talking with you on this podcast for the past almost 4 months now, I've learned a lot just from you sharing stories and stuff. And there are a few people I've started following on Twitter that are travel agents that I do see what they put out about it. And you had mentioned, you guys get first crack at like when deals come and so on and so forth. Now, for people who, like, say you book your trip, a year in advance or something like that. Now, I know Disney has all the reminders for all that stuff when you're 180 days. Now, is that, like, are you on top of that as well? Do you contact these people maybe like 182 days out? Hey, listen, in 2 days we got to start booking dining. Do you have stuff in mind? Do you need help with it? Same with fast passes, like, close to the 60-day mark. Do you kind of step up and go to bat with them and say, hey, listen, give me stuff you really want to do? Are you going kid heavy with stuff? Do you want to hit all the roller coasters? How do you want me to manage fast passes and stuff like that? Or do they kind of just leave trust in you to pretty much cater and book a full service vacation for them without much input from the guest?
Well, I mean, it can go either direction. There's a system on the Disney Travel Agent site that's called My Magic Plus Communication Timeline. And we actually can put in their reservation number, and we know when they're going to get emails and mailers from Disney saying, hey, you've got this amount of days, so you need to be doing this, you need to be thinking about that. Disney does a lot of that work for us.
Okay.
Because they are always in constant communication. The problem is they're not going to tell you there's a better deal out there for your trip.
No, I know that.
But they do a good job of making sure you know when your deadlines are for booking dining and things like that. Now, I also keep a file. So if I book somebody for, I'm just going to say July 30th of next year for a trip, I'm going to put a tickler in my calendar that says on January 25th, I'm going to start emailing you and asking you, hey, do I need to help you book dining? If they didn't book a package, do you need tickets? Because they need to have their tickets in place before they get to 60 days so that they can book their fast passes and things like that. So,
right. Oh, good. So that's good to know, because I know, and I wasn't aware of the change until I did my fast passes for my recent trip, because it used to be 60 days out, resort guest, you can book your fast passes, but it used to be at midnight. So I would either stay up late that night or set an alarm. So come to find out, I guess they moved it to 7 a.m.
Yeah, they've done that with everything, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I didn't know, because I don't keep on top of all that kind of stuff. I booked the trip and.
Yeah, that
was it. I didn't worry about it.
It's now actually 7 a.m. for fast passes, 7 a.m. for rooms that were released the previous day. So if you're looking for a different room, or if you're trying to book something and there wasn't a room available,
right,
you got to call at 7 o'clock the next morning.
Gotcha.
Same thing for dining. It used to be you could get on the dining website at midnight and look and see what opened up the previous day. No, not anymore. It's 7 a.m.
It's all 7 a.m.
Huh. Which stinks.
Which stinks. I was going to say I kind of like the midnight thing better.
Yeah, because not everybody does that.
Well,
great for people on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's for... I'm on the East Coast, so 7 o'clock in the morning...
I honestly believe that's the reason why they did it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But...
7 o'clock in the morning couldn't be a worse time trying to get, kids to school, off to work, and just the other morning craziness that normally goes on. And it's like, okay, and now I gotta go be on the phone for a half hour now. So
and now
stop world while I book my vacation.
And now if you're on the West Coast, it's 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Right, which that's horrible. I mean, it's not as bad. That's a pain, but
I'd rather stay up till midnight.
Oh, I would have too. The only other major thing that I wondered about, like I said, I know the answer to, but I just for the interest in providing information is you're not affiliated with DVC in any way. So people who are DVC members who want to use their points, they cannot. Can they book through you, or they still have to? Going through the DVC member site is the only way.
Yeah, see, that's one of the disappointing things is that if I'm working with somebody on a cruise vacation and they decide they're going to use Disney vacation points for that cruise, which I will always try and talk them out of doing.
I was just going to say that's
not just from the point of view of I'm going to get paid a commission on it, but also from the point of view it's just a bad use of your points. Yes. They have to do that through Disney Vacation Club, and actually that one they have to do by calling them.
Right.
Anything with a resort on it they can actually do through their website, but they can't do cruise line if they're going to use their points through the website. It's even difficult for a person if they're going to book a bounce back cruise on the cruise line and they want to use their points. That gets confusing even.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
So, however, if you do an onboard booking, meaning you book your next cruise while you're still on your current cruise and you go for that discount, that 10% plus the stateroom credit, you can transfer that reservation to your home travel agent as long as you do that within 30 days.
Yep.
So do that within 30 days of getting off that ship so that you will have that service of your agent. So
and if you booked your cruise you're on with a travel agent and you rebook a cruise, it will automatically be associated with that travel agent.
Exactly.
So
nice.
Think about that too if you decided that you didn't like the travel agent that you don't have. Because you might need to tell cruise line that, because once they sign it to that travel agent, it's a major pain to get it moved.
Exactly.
I see.
So yes, good to know.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, good. No, that's definitely good to know.
Yeah. So the other thing about DVC is that we don't have any involvement with DVC at all. The only thing we can do is we can book cash reservations at a DVC resort. So if you call me up and say, I don't want to stay in a normal hotel room, I want something huge, and you want, a studio or a 1-bedroom suite at one of the Disney vacation resorts, we can book it for you. Everything has a price. Good to know too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think a lot of people either forget that or don't realize that the vacation club properties still offer regular rooms at a rack rate, so or whatever. So they're not exclusively. There are certain sections that are exclusively DVC, but the rest of the resorts is open to anybody who's willing to pay for it. Yeah, they're not going to turn you down. If they're not getting somebody there on their point system, they'll get somebody there paying cash.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. If the occupancy's down for a particular time of year, they sometimes offer some really attractive rates for Disney Vacation Club resorts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've gotten rooms as much as 50% off.
Yeah, definitely, just because they want to get bodies there.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. If you can, that's like 90s. That's like 90s pricing.
For one bedroom, you're talking typically rack rate $700, $750 a night.
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
Bedroom.
Right.
Yep.
You can get it for 50% off. That's huge savings.
It's fantastic.
And now I got a washer and dryer. I got a refrigerator. I got a stove. Not that I like to cook on vacation, but
no. But for people who travel with kids, it's a nice option to have, because I know when we would, not to go completely off topic, but traveling with my 3 kids even from when they were small, and my oldest is 11 and a half now, when we would drive down, we would load up the car with a couple boxes of macaroni and, cooler. We'd stop at the Publix on the way in and grab Eggo waffles and stuff like that, and cream cheese and butter, and because just sometimes you always need that break. But when you're got small children in hand, they sometimes would rather just go hang out in the pool in the hotel, and they think bouncing off the beds for 2 hours is the best thing in the world. So you got to go with the flow, and so it's nice, depending on where you are on some of these giant resorts, to not have to hump all the way to wherever the eatery is and buy stuff and walk it back. You just throw a pot of water and some macaroni on, and it's easy. And for most kids, that'll keep them happy for a while. Yeah, so that's great. And to just add one more thing that I recently came to know about on the DVC end is, as we were getting closer to our trip, my wife and I decided we're with our kids for this one. So we booked a lot of the tours and some of this special adult things that you can do down there that you need to be 18 and older to do. So we're doing a Keys to the Kingdom tour. We're doing the Wild Africa Trek, and we're doing a DVC event that they're doing at the Animal Kingdom. It's like a member-only thing, like an after-hours thing. It's 9 to midnight one night. I was able to get a booking for the Trader Sam's event that they're doing in correlation with Food and Wine. It's like a behind-the-scenes mixology thing over at Trader Sam's, so that's going to be awesome. But this was multiple phone calls. I didn't do it all on the same phone call because it kind of happened as we kept going back and forth. But so what DVC is doing now, when you call them, it's a new program that they started where if you like I guess they're not really called agents. If I'm not sure what they're called, but if you like the person you're speaking with on the other end of the phone, they all have extension numbers now. So, and if you book a reservation with them, not if you just call with a question. So if you book a reservation with them, whether it be a trip, a dining reservation, or a tour, you can ask them for their. It was a pilot program. Now I believe it's in full effect now. You can ask them for their 4-digit extension. So then next time you call, it says, after you put your member number in and so on and so forth, it'll say, if you know your party's extension, dial it now or at any time, however the message plays, and you can type in that 4-digit thing, and it'll bring you right to that same agent. Now, over the years with DVC, I've had some great people, and they always tell you their name, but they were never allowed to give you last name, so you never really...
Yeah.
He could say his name was, Alan. And you could say, hey, I talked to Alan 2 months ago. And they're like, all right, we have 5 Allens, So now, like the last person I talked to, spoke with her 2 different times. And her name was Angie. She was great. And I got her number. And so now anytime I call DVC, I'm always going to just type her number in, because it's got to be great for them too to get I'm assuming they work on some sort of a commission. I really don't know. Maybe they don't. But it's got to be great for them to get repeat customers and people who ask for them, as in with any type of public service job. But so that was just a little thing I would just to share with people who are DVC members who listen, that if they weren't aware of it, I believe it's in full circle now. The last time I spoke to them was probably about a month ago, and she was able to give me her number, so it must be all rolled out.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And on that same note, with travel agent, everybody that calls Disney has the same, WDW Dine or WDW whatever to call to book their stuff or to book it online. We have our own engine for booking online. We have our own phone line that we can call to Disney to get kind of backdoored into the reservation call center. So sometimes that can work to your advantage. So you always want to keep that in mind. If you're not using a travel agent and you don't want to mess with it, travel agent has access to that stuff. So.
Oh, all right, cool. Yeah.
And with how complex, so much has changed in the last few years at Walt Disney World with the integration of the Magic Bands, making fast passes early, depending on where you're staying, whether you're staying on site or off site, ADRs for your dining reservations, all kinds of things have changed in the last 10 years. And I really think that whenever somebody asks me, should I use a travel agent? I'm like, when was the last time you went to Walt Disney World? And if it's not within the last few years, I really suggest they kind of consider it, because they're going to need someone who is knowledgeable, somebody who not only is knowledgeable, but somebody who's excited to share this information. If your travel agent is not excited about talking to you about Disney, that's a red flag.
You need to find a different agent.
You need to find a different agent. No,
because
definitely.
I'm not a travel agent, and when somebody asks me about making fast passes, I'm like, let's sit down and get a cup of coffee. Let's talk fast passes. I love sharing that information, and I'm not even an agent. My primary focus is Disney Cruise Line, and I love talking about Disney World. So, if you've not traveled to Walt Disney World in the last few years, given the technology changes that have been integrated into the parks and the pre-planning that is now, it's not even optional anymore. You used to be able to wing it at the parks. You can't anymore. You have to have at least a baseline plan. Even if you're not somebody who's going to schedule your day to the nines, and I don't suggest that either, but having a partner, somebody who's excited as you are about your trip, who can say, hey, maybe let's not make that fast pass first thing in the morning because you're probably going to be able to walk right on, or someone who can say, you know what, if you book this dining reservation, you're going to get priority seating for this event. Things that the average lay traveler is not going to know.
Right.
That's when I seriously suggest working with a knowledgeable travel agent.
Right. And if you don't want to work with a travel agent, or if that's not your road, then by all means, she's not on with us tonight, but please go visit Adrian's website, because our Jedi Master Planner will help you out with any scenario you can possibly need.
wdwbound.com, or you can ask us any questions on facebook.com/DisExplorers. We love talking about Disney.
If you couldn't tell already.
For reals.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we definitely would like to get more engaged with our audience as far as on the social aspect. So yeah, please reach out to us in any way. We're all on there. We give our social media accounts every week and stuff, so it's great to hear from people.
All of these changes were new to us as well at one time. We're just so used to incorporating all these changes over time.
Yep, no doubt.
And the only other thing I'll say about travel agency is if you're going to use a travel agent and you're going to ask them to quote something for you, think about their time that they have involved in that. Because understand, they don't get paid for it until you book, until after you travel. If you ask them to quote something and then you go call Disney on your own and book it, they didn't get a dime. They didn't get paid for their time at all.
It's almost like working with a real estate agent.
Almost.
They don't pay. Almost. I mean, the agents don't get paid until you've actually closed the deal. You've closed your trip out. That's when they receive their commissions. So, absolutely. That's a good point. And if a travel agent tries to charge you a fee for their services, tell them to take a hike.
Yeah, call me.
Exactly. And you can even report them. I'm sure there's some way to report that kind of practice.
No, not really, because
there's not.
A lot of the travel agents are starting to charge a fee.
Really?
So what a lot of the travel agents are starting to do is they're starting to charge you $100 to work with you. If you book and you travel, you get your $100 back. So it
gets waived.
It's like an insurance policy.
It's kind of like a retainer fee.
I get it.
It's basically
I get that too.
Yeah, I'm going to do the work for you, but if you don't book with me, you don't get your $100 back.
Right. And I can kind of see it.
I don't do that personally. I thought about going to that mode, and I think about it some more, and then I talk to my wife and talk to my friends, and they're like, nah, it's probably not a good idea. So
yeah, I mean, I could understand it if people have gotten burned in the past, or like you said, they're putting tons of work into it and doing the research and everything for you, and then they decide not to do it. I get where that can be frustrating, because for many people, I know for you have a full-time job, so this is something you do on the side as someone who enjoys helping other people with these experiences, so they have a great time. The same reason why Melanie's doing what she's doing with the cruise line, and why Adrian does what she does with her blog and her website, and Jessica as well on the Disneyland side. It's all a hobby for all of us, because it's just a love we've had for this Disney empire, and it's overwhelming for people, especially now, to go for their first time. I don't want to spin off into that whole other tangent, because we could definitely do a show
we don't want to do that
on first timer stuff. But I I'm 40. First time I went was 1980. I was 4 years old, and even as I got older, it was a much simpler time then with going to Disney World. It was, other than being expensive, it was a fairly easy vacation. Now it's just because of how it's grown and how society and technology has come about. It's complex. It's complex, and I'm sure it turns a lot of people off. And I know I wasn't on board with the whole regular fast passes. I was cool with the paper ones were great. I was definitely not on board with the My Magic Plus when it first came on, and I do it because you have to. For this upcoming trip, I do not have fast passes booked for every day, and I do not have dining booked for every day. I think we have one dining reservation at Kona Cafe.
You sound like me. My next one, I'm going rogue and doing the same thing.
But you know what? For a party of two, and we've done it before, you can walk up to a lot of restaurants and say, as long as you're flexible, which my wife and I are, I don't have to eat dinner at a certain time or lunch or breakfast.
Yep.
We can show up at 5:30, say at like the Plaza on Main Street, which is a restaurant we both love. Okay, party of two. All right, well, we really don't have anything till 7 o'clock. All right, cool. We'll go mosey around Main Street or whatever and come back in an hour. It's a whole different trip when you're adulting at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, the biggest complaint I hear from people is, well, we can't be our guest. I said, no, you can't be our guest because you're not flexible. If you go, if you want to eat lunch at Be Our Guest and you show up at 1:30, you're going to walk right in because they're getting ready to shut lunch down.
Yeah.
Or if you want to eat dinner, go while the fireworks are going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's late, but still, you're on
so
vacation.
what?
Yeah, I think they say that too because when you try, you're on the website, you're trying to get those reservations, it will tell you no tables available. And they want to have a plan. They want to know where they're going to eat that night, so they end up taking a reservation somewhere else instead of winging it and possibly getting shut out of everywhere.
Right.
So when the system tells you there's no reservations, you kind of it's a defeating thing in one time, but you tend to switch modes and go into alternate plans. So
yes, most definitely.
But I've been the lucky recipient of one of those walk-ups at Be Our Guest before, and it made our day. It made our day.
Yeah. We went, my brother and I went when they did the pass holder preview weekend that November of 2012.
Yes.
My brother and I went on a solo trip, just the two of us. We went for 3 days.
We were probably there at the same time.
Yeah, and we walked up I think we did a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, maybe it was whatever it was. So we went there on I think it was probably whatever day it was. We went to Be Our Guest. We got in line about 10 o'clock because it opened at 10:30. The line wasn't even 50 people deep. I mean, the park wasn't that crowded. It's in November in the middle of school year. So, but we walked right in and had lunch, and it was great. And we actually ate lunch because we met up with him, the fellow who runs Reedy Creek Radio. With Byron.
Yes.
With Byron.
Yeah.
We were tweeting. My brother was tweeting with him, and we actually met up with him in Epcot. Him and Jeff, the theme park EMT. So we met up with the two of them, and we actually hung out with Byron and his family a couple days, and we ended up eating at Be Our Guest with them and walked around and saw Illumination. Yeah, no, it was fantastic. It was really, really great. I got some good pictures with them and stuff. What I could post up on the website. But yeah, and that was during pass holder preview. So it's like we got to, the only thing that wasn't done then was the mine train, but Under the Sea and Bell and everything, everything except the mine train, and it was just really cool to be able to do that. We actually met, I believe his name is Brad, who runs Stitch Kingdom. He was there too, so we ran into him too. So that was that was pretty cool. So in the Disney universe, social media universe, it's for somebody like me, it's that stuff is pretty cool. Even though it's it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal to meet somebody, but people who have like the social media presence that you interact with and that you do things with, and
it's nice to hang out at Disney with people who get Disney like we do.
Yeah.
I always try and meet up with a couple of my friends that are other podcasters down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I always try to run into Amanda Tinney, who has Where's Amanda?
Yep.
There's always someplace different.
Yes.
Yep.
I love her.
Yeah, I'm hoping to catch a few people when I'm down there. Just some locals that are there. Our own Crystal, hopefully, and I can get to meet her face to face and hang out for a bit. And anybody else who's around, I'll be a pain on social media to everybody.
Yay!
when I'm down there, hey, I'm here. I'm nobody, but I'm here.
You are not.
Okay, so we've done some damage for the three of us. We've gotten a lot of great information out to all of you, so I think this is a good time to wrap this up.
I do want to say that next Monday, which is September 19th, RJ, this is for you. It is International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
It most certainly is.
It really is, and that's coming up in a week. So, get out your shiver me timbers and look out for Facebook shenanigans and Jack Sparrow memes and, rum cocktails at your local watering hole, all that good stuff.
If you're on Facebook, go follow the unofficial Jack Sparrow page.
Yes.
Very, very, very funny. It's not me, unfortunately, but that dude is pretty funny, and he was already posting stuff about Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Why is the rum always gone?
Well, I know why the rum's always gone, but it's not that type of podcast.
That's one of our mini-sodes.
Right, yes. So as we bring this one to a close, we'll give our social media, how to get a hold of us to the members that are here, and for the missing
and
troopers,
you can find out on
in the show notes
too.
And so you'll be able to find them there, and you can just go to Diz Explorer's website, which is lots of fun. There's lots of great episodes on there, and Jessica's always putting up something interesting for everybody to take a look at. Badges, pictures of us, and today she had little quiz things going on Instagram, which my son was excited about because he got them right. So
you're raising that kid right.
Absolutely. That was what I put in the comment too for him. I was like, well, he's getting raised right. So that's awesome.
Yes.
So, yeah, so definitely follow us on our social media accounts, and Melanie and Milford will give out theirs now.
You can find me at dclprepschool.com is my website. You can find all of our discussions on Facebook at facebook.com/dclprepschool. And my handle on Twitter is dclprepschool, and on Instagram it's dclprep. So come join the seaworthy shenanigans over there. It's a fun group.
Also, before Milford says his, Melanie, you have an email that people can sign up for, right? That they can
Absolutely. You can, when you are on dclprepschool.com, you can sign up for email updates right at the top of the page. And I typically send out emails to the group about once a week. It's always me. I'm never spammy. So it's always coming straight from me. It's not some Autotron Autobot. And usually my emails are fun tips, fun happenings that are going on in the world of Disney Cruise Line, or neat anecdotes, things that have happened to me on the cruise ship or to my family. So I keep it fun, never spammy.
Cool.
So and you can sign up for that on dclprepschool.com.
Nice. Okay, Milford?
You can find me over on milfordhutzel.com. That's my Milford on the Move blog. You can also find me on Facebook, Milford Hutzel, and Milford on the Move, and Milford on Move on Twitter. And I also wanted to mention that as of today, the Diz Explorers podcast is now also available in the Google Play Store.
Woohoo!
Yay!
So one more venue for people to be able to download.
Awesome. So no excuses, people. There's no excuses.
We've got every device.
That's
covered.
right.
We're in the big times now.
We're all over the place. Cool. All right. So, and me, you can follow along with my hijinks and shenanigans on Facebook at RJ Lucia Jr., Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope at Black Pearl 454. I will try to do a bunch of periscoping next week while I'm down there.
Yes.
As much as I'm probably going to go through, toggle between Periscope and maybe the Facebook Live thing seems to be very popular now, so maybe I'll do some stuff on that because I have.
Do you Snapchat yet?
I have not, but since I saw your funny pictures, I may. My wife does it, My wife does it, and the kids love playing with all the funny filters, especially my 4-year-old, and they think it's hysterical. She never Snapchats anybody. She just likes taking the pictures on the phone, and the kids get a kick out of
Doing
it.
the story, yes.
Yeah, so...
There's a tiara one today.
I saw that. You looked very regal.
Thank you so much. I do what I can. Those filters are immensely helpful. They're very flattering. But yes, and you can find it at DCL Prep School on Snapchat. My daughter rolls her eyes at me and has to help me use it because apparently I'm way too old. But it is still so much fun.
I'm sure I'll get the same thing. Yeah, I will do as much as I can without annoying my wife and actually
enjoy the part
and not getting in trouble. So. So with that wraps up this episode. You can find us at thedizexplorers.com. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. Jessica takes care of all our social media accounts, and she's awesome at it. So please go and check us all out. Follow us. And that is that. So thank you all for listening. We all really appreciate it. I love the feedback. I've been getting some direct messages on Twitter from different people about things, and I really enjoy that. The only thing I ask is I always share it with the rest of the group, but we all love getting feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. It just helps us and lets us know that people are listening and enjoy what we're putting out, and that we're not just rambling about things that we want to hear ourselves talk about. So... thanks again for listening, and we will talk to everybody next week. Well, I won't because I'll be in Disney World, so enjoy a pirate-free episode next week. Take care.
Night.
Night.